Yo, 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 poop shoot, I am back. It is darthcobain17, and it's a long time since you have seen me worn the Leafs jersey. As you might assume, this has something to do with the NHL's return to play that is set to unleash upon the world this weekend. And as you may also have surmised from a trailer I posted a few days ago that I don't think anybody watched anyways, but it kind of got the subscribers to my channel, all 12 of them, possibly if they watched it, ready for this return to play. So the action all kicks off on Saturday, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay much attention to any news at all over the past 4 months. Regular news, forget about it. COVID news, doubly so. I'm sick of hearing about all that. And even sports. I didn't even watch any of the sports channels because it was no action. It was all conjecture and yada yada, and it was the same thing over and over again. I only started to tune in once things started to turn a bit around the corner, and it was like, okay, they're starting to put a plan in place, and they're starting to actually figure the details of this plan out. So the way the NHL is working the return to play is they're going straight to the playoffs, but it's going to look a lot different than it normally does. First of all, there's obviously going to be no crowds, so that is going to be I was just watching some of the exhibition games the other night, or the highlights from them anyways, and they've kind of prettied up the rinks a little bit so it doesn't look like just a bunch of empty seats, but it is bizarre with nobody in the stands. It's almost like, back when I used to play house league and there was like the odd parent in the stands. There's nobody. It's just a silent rink. All you hear is the sounds of the game, right? So they've got that going on, and the way they're working it, the NHL has done it really well. Unlike baseball, which they're all flying back and forth to each other's cities, so they're a lot more exposed to COVID, and it's still going crazy in the States anyway, so there's going to be problems with baseball. But the NHL has done it right. They've basically had to vote on 2 hub cities, which ended up being Toronto for the Eastern Conference teams and Edmonton for the Western Conference teams. So all the Eastern Conference teams are staying in hotels in the Toronto area, a couple different hotels, and all the Western Conference teams are staying in some hotels in the Edmonton area. And so they're all going to have the hotels to themselves. They're all going to have the same buses taking them back and forth to the rink, sanitation procedures. So they're going to be in this bubble that's going to hopefully keep everybody safe and able to play. That's the main thing, is we want to see the Stanley Cup awarded, and we want, every team to be healthy and have a chance, right? Even though I want the Leafs to win, and if every other team got all COVID and the Leafs won because of that, a win's a win, right? But I digress. So that's kind of the way the NHL has done it. So they're going to play these games in the 2 hub cities. When it gets down to the conference finals and then the Stanley Cup finals, so the last 2 rounds of the playoffs, everything's going to shift to Edmonton, and the rest of it is all going to be played in Edmonton only. So as for the formatting, normally 8 teams per conference get into the playoffs, so 16 total teams in the league get in. This year it's going to be 24 teams. And the way that's going to work is 4 teams in each conference, so 8 total teams, are basically going to get a bye past the qualifier rounds. So there's still going to be 4 rounds of playoffs, which consist of 7-game series. But before those 4 rounds of 7-game series take place, there's going to be a qualifier round at the start of it all, which are only going to be best of 5-game series. So the 4 top seeds in each conference basically get a bye and pass this qualifier round. They still have to play some games. They're going to play a round-robin tournament between the 4 teams in each conference that's going to basically determine their seedings going into that first round. So it's going to determine 1 to 4 for the seedings. So let's just have a look at the top 4 teams in each conference that will be doing this round-robin tournament.
The top 4 seeds in the East include the Philadelphia Flyers, the Boston Bruins, the Washington Capitals, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. While over in the West, we have the St. Louis Blues, the Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars, and the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, so those are the 8 teams that are going to kind of have not an easy go of it, but their games at the outset, They're going to be important, but they're not going to be elimination important, let's say. The rules for those games are going to be regular season rules. So if any of those round robin games go to overtime, it's just going to be the 5 minute of 3-on-3 followed by a shootout if necessary to determine those games. Now, as for the qualifier round, which is the best of 5 series, which will determine which teams advance into the first round of the playoffs. So there's basically 8 more teams in each conference that are going to be playing in these 4 series per conference that determine which other 4 teams get into the brackets on each side and face the 4 teams in each conference that went through the round robins to get the top seeding. So let's have a look at the teams that are going head-to-head in this qualifier round series.
The matchups in the East feature the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Montreal Canadiens. The Carolina Hurricanes will do battle with the New York Rangers. The New York Islanders are set to tangle with the Florida Panthers. And my Toronto Maple Leafs are set to do battle with the Blue Jackets of Columbus. Over in the West, we have an exciting series with the Edmonton Oilers squaring off against the Chicago Blackhawks. The Nashville Predators are set to face the Arizona Coyotes. The Vancouver Canucks take on the Minnesota Wild. And finally, the Calgary Flames are set to do battle with the Jets from Winnipeg.
These qualifier round 5-game series are full playoff format. So sudden death overtime, full 20 minutes, however many extra periods are necessary. So that's full playoffs. Now, looking at the matchups, being an Eastern Conference guy as a Leafs fan, a lot of the Eastern Conference teams I don't like because the Leafs play them so often. So there's a lot of hate involved with a lot of the other teams. So in terms of those teams that are getting basically the bye through that first round, hate the Bruins, hate the Flyers. The Caps I'm kind of on, and the Lightning I just find kind of boring. As skilled as they are, I watch Tampa games and I'm like, they just don't do anything for me. So those 4 teams I'm not too excited about, obviously. When we get into the matchups for the qualifier rounds, I'm going to be invested in the Pittsburgh-Montreal series because I hate the Canadiens. So I want to see them eliminated, and eliminated badly. Now, would I like to see them advance and possibly face the Leafs at some point in the playoffs? Yes, that would be fantastic. But I would more want a guarantee of them being eliminated at any point. So first round is great. So I'm going to be I'm probably not going to be watching any of those games because I just can't watch them play hockey. But I'm going to be paying attention to it because I want to see how that one ends up, and hopefully they're sent packing after this qualifier round. What are the other ones? The Islanders, Panthers, that one's just kind of boring. And I forget what that other one is. And then, of course, the one I'm most interested in is obviously the Leafs and the Blue Jackets. Now, watching the Leafs in their game against Montreal, the exhibition game, to get them kind of warmed up, everybody looks a little rusty, but they had a pretty good game, 1-4-2. A couple guys that were injured in the regular season, Ilya Mikheyev, who he was injured back in December. He got a skate blade across his wrist or something like that, and he was bleeding everywhere. And they shut him down basically for the year. But he made some better progress than they thought, and he was just about a week away from possibly returning to the lineup once the league went down with COVID. So he's back in the lineup, and he scored his first goal in his first game back in that exhibition game, so that was nice. And then Riley, who is easily one of their most important players, being their top defenseman, he had some kind of nagging injuries over the season that I don't think he missed too many games, but he wasn't 100%, and you could tell because last season he had a whale of a season, and this year his numbers were way down. So he's going to be 100%, and he chipped in with 3 assists that night. So, and that's going to be the theme with all of the teams. Everybody's going to be either 100% healthy with their team or close to it. There's only going to be the odd long-term guy that has something serious going on that hasn't healed over these past 4 months that's going to be kept out. For the Leafs, that's only one guy, Andreas Johnsson. He's out long term, and I can't remember what it's for, but he's the only Leaf that's not going to be in the lineup. Other than that, everybody's back and 100% healthy. So that's amazing, and but that's going to be offset with all of the other teams being in the same situation and being healthy, right? But for the Leafs, I also think they had such an inconsistent start to the season, and then all the bullshit with Babcock and all the media circus around that, and then the Leafs finally firing him, and then getting Sheldon Keefe on board, and then getting adjusted to his coaching style and everything he's asking of them. It was a gong show of a season that saw the Leafs underachieve and be very inconsistent. They put it together really well at times, but then it kind of blew up again, back and forth like that. So I think having these last 4 months to get healthy, maybe put the season that had kind of unfolded before them in perspective and kind of in the rearview mirror and take their lessons from it and stuff. I think they're going to be possibly in a slightly better position than a lot of the other clubs with this break having happened at the time it did. I think it's going to do them really well. Like I said, everybody's going to heal with their injuries, but in terms of the mental and media circus that went on in Toronto this year with everything, I think that's really going to be an advantage to them for having had some time off of that and able to kind of put that behind them. Over to the West, there are some very intriguing matchups. Edmonton and Chicago. Sorry, it's late, even though I'm not posting this at nighttime. This is when I filmed it. Edmonton and Chicago are, after the Leafs, are two of my favorite teams to watch. And, the Oilers are super skilled with Connor McDavid and all that, and super speedy and stuff like that. You also have the Blackhawks, who are, the closest team to a dynasty we've had in a while, winning a few cups over the last handful of years, and still having a really strong team. But it just goes to show that with a core that the Hawks still have, can be on the playoff bubble like they were. It just goes to show how even the league is with the salary cap and the parity and everything, that the Blackhawks can be on the outside looking in. So this is going to be a really entertaining series to watch. And after the Leafs series, this is going to be the one I'm going to want to tune into the most. And I honestly, whoever wins, I'm going to be happy for them, and I'm going to be sad for the other team, right? So, but it's just going to be a dynamite series. And that's one other thing that I think that a lot of the teams that were on the playoff bubble, kind of on the outside looking in, this is their chance to, cause some real damage and say, we got a chance to get into the show and possibly win the cup when we were outside of the playoffs. And how late it was in the season, it's really hard to play yourself into the playoffs in those final weeks when you're outside of it by a significant amount. So for teams like the Blackhawks and other teams like that, at least I think the Hawks were outside looking in. That's the thing, it's been so long, I forget who was where, and I haven't really paid attention to anything since then. So but whatever teams are in that position, it's going to be a big boost to them, I think. And then the other series that I'm going to be invested in is Calgary-Winnipeg. I don't like either of those teams. So I'm going to want to watch that just to see if they can all injure each other and that sort of thing, because I really hate the Flames with Kachuk and all those guys. I hate them. And I kind of want Calgary to win and Edmonton to win so that we can have a Battle of Alberta. Just like I would love to see Toronto and Montreal go on the East, I'd love to see Calgary and Edmonton go on the West. That would be fantastic. But either way, I think that all-Canadian matchup with the Flames and the Jets, both being physical teams, I think that could be a pretty entertaining series between two teams that I absolutely don't like. So that's the other one that I'm kind of invested in. But it's all going to be, the main focus of this first round is going to be the qualifiers to see who gets in. And then after that, things can kind of get back to normal, because right now the 4 round robin teams in each side, we all know they're going to be in. So those round robin games aren't really going to mean much. It's going to mean a lot to them because it's going to determine their seedings, but I don't think it's going to mean as much to the fans because there's not really any real significance or threat behind those games. They have to be played, of course, but it's going to be the qualifying best of fives that are going to be the main draw of this first round of action. So, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I can't wait. The Leafs don't play on Saturday; they actually play on the second day on Sunday. But either way, there's going to be a lot of hockey coming up in the very near future, and I think the NHL has kind of set the bar at navigating this return to play and doing it the most effectively in the safest, and having the teams and the ownership in the league all work together and be be in harmony with everything. I don't think there was much opposition in any corner throughout this whole thing. I actually think this might be a good thing for them, because every once in a while you get threat of a lockout and they got to do the new CBA, and there's always what's going to happen. This might actually go a long way to helping. They know they can get shit like this done in a hurry, so why can't they normally do it, right? So I think that could go a long way, and in improving and building on those. Sorry. Holy shit. Building on those relationships moving forward. And when you look at other leagues, like you've got guys in the NFL already opting out of playing in the season because they don't want to be put at risk. So, you've got players in the league that don't even want to play. Whereas in the NHL, who has said they don't want to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and in the league's doing it right? So they don't really have to feel, I don't feel safe, right? Whereas all the leagues in the States are just... I didn't take coronavirus all that seriously to begin with, and I still think it was like, you just got to be careful, but people in the States just seem to be not giving a care, and their cases keep going up, and it's like, how many people have to die before they can get it through their heads that just stay home, chill out, and their leagues are doing the same thing. Like, they're just kind of resuming normal operations, and each team's flying to each other team's ballpark. And just the Miami Marlins the other day got a dozen or more confirmed cases in their clubhouse of coronavirus. So, and the Canadian government won't let the Blue Jays play in Toronto because they don't want all these players coming over from the U.S. back and forth, and they're playing out of Buffalo. So, and that's why all the two bubble cities here for the playoffs are Edmonton and Toronto, right? Much safer up here than it is down there. So good on the league, on the NHL for doing it right. And, they're setting the bar and they're showing the way to do it. But it's up to the other leagues to pay attention and maybe take an example for it. But that's up to them. I don't really care, because hockey's the only sport that really matters. So as long as it's going, that's all that matters. The other ones I don't give a shit about. But either way, it's coming in just a few days, a couple days, whatever it is, and I cannot wait. So wish me luck, wish the Leafs luck, and I will be back after that first Leafs game with my first post-Leafs game report in a long, long, long time. Sayonara.